Welcome class 9. Today we are going to start the chapter The Fun They Had. The story begins with a future time action. It is told in the future some year 2157, 13-year-old boy with the name Tommy finds an old book and showed it to his close friend Margie. Both the children, they were very surprised and felt strange to see such a real book because in their future time they have only e-books or the virtual books. So books in the printing format, they were not existing in their time. So the girl feels so awkward and surprised. She makes the entry of this experience in her diary with the title Tommy Found a Real Book. Let's see now about the experience. Margie even wrote about it that night in her diary on the page headed 17 May 2157. She wrote, "Today Tommy found a real book." The story begins with the strange experience of the children. When they got the book, Margie, she felt it very strange and uncommon thing in her life. So she enters in her diary about this experience with the date that is 17 May 2157 with the title Today Tommy Found a Real Book. It was a very old book. Marge's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather told him that there was a time when all stories were printed on paper. Now Margie reminded of her grandfather when he shared the information with the girl that his grandfather used to study all the books in the printed form in his time. That means they turned the pages which were yellow and crinkly. Crinkly means the thing which had many folds or the lines. Now the children, they were surprised to open this old book. They found the pages were yellow and had been crushed there as it was the old book. And it was awfully funny to read words that stood still. And again, it was really terrible and funny experience for them to read the words and the text which was paused in the book instead of moving the way they were supposed to on a screen. As these future children, they were in the practice of attending online classes on the computer screen. So it was quite different experience to see the words were stuck on some page. And then when they turned back to the page before, it had the same words on it. And again, it was surprising for them that when they returned back to the last page, it again displayed the same text and the same words that it had when they read it for the first time. So it was displaying the same text. There was no change of the text, just they used to see on the computer screen and in their online studies in their computer screen. "Gee," said Tommy, "what a waste." Now Tommy disliked this printed book because he said it is useless book. When you are through with the book, that when you complete reading this book, you just throw it away. I guess our television screen must have had a million books on it and it's good for plenty more. Here he explains the benefits of the computer screen. On the other hand, it had the capacity to show many books and many stories which he could continue reading. He said that after reading one story, he cannot throw away the screen. So he liked the computer screen of his future time. "Same with mine," said Margie. She was 11 and had not seen as many telebooks as Tommy had. Now Margie, who was 11 years old girl, and she had not read as many e-books as Tommy had, she agreed with the point of Tommy. Tommy was a 13-year-old boy. She said, "Where did you find it?" She inquired from boy from where he had got the book. He pointed without looking because he was busy reading. Now the boy didn't leave the glance from the book because he was quite interested in the topic of the book. He replied, "In the attic." Attic is a space just below the roof used as a storeroom. "What's it about?" Now she further inquired, "What is the topic of the book?" He replied, "School." Margie was scornful. Scornful, it is expression of hatefulness or disrespect. She now showed her hatefulness to hear the word school. What's there to write about school? She wanted to know what was there good in the word school to write the book about it. "I hate school." She actually hated her virtual school, so she expressed her disrespect after learning the title of the book. Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. Margie from the beginning hated her school, but now her dislike for the school had increased more than ever. The mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography. There in her school, the mechanical teacher had been giving her many tests in geography, and she had been doing worse and worse, and in all her tests she was scoring very bad. As the school of Margie, it was not the real classroom like you, it was the virtual classroom where the computer had been teaching this girl. That's why she was disliking this virtual classroom and that computer to be her teacher. He was a round little man with a red face and a whole box of tools with tiles and wires. The county inspector was a round little man. He had a red face and he had brought a big box full of tools with tiles and wires. He smiled at Margie. He gave a smile to the little girl and gave her an apple, then took the teacher apart. Then he took away the computer with him. Margie had hoped he would not know how to put it together again. Margie wished in her mind that the county inspector could not repair her computer again, but he knew how all right. But the man was expert. He did everything right, and after an hour or so, there it was again. And now, within the span of 1 hour, the man corrected and repaired the teacher of the girl, that is a computer, large and black and ugly. That computer, it was very big and of black color, but looked very ugly to this girl, with a big screen on which all the lessons were shown as it displayed the lessons and teachings to the girl, and the questions were asked. And here on the same screen of this ugly looking teacher, the lessons and the questions were given and asked. That was not so bad, she said, and felt in her mind that it was not so bad. Why? That was not so bad, she said. I didn't hate the look of my computer or the virtual teacher. The part Margie hated most was the slot. Slot is the given space or the time to submit the assignments. She said I hated the slot where she had to put homework and test paper. She always had to write them out in the punch code. She said I had to reply all the answers in the computing language. Punch code is a computed code or language they made her learn when she was 6 years old. She said I had learned that language when she was very small and only of 6 years of age. The mechanical teacher calculated the marks in no time. She said the machine teacher that calculated her marks within few seconds. That's why she didn't like the teacher's name and the school word in her life. The inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted Marge's head. After finishing the work, the inspector smiled and touched the head of the girl with love. He said to her mother, "It is not the little girl's fault." He said, "Mrs. Jones, it is not the mistake of the girl to get the less marks. I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick." He said, "I feel the geography part of the computer was adjusted to the higher level. That means it was upgraded to the level of the high class students. Those things happen sometimes." He said, "Such things can happen with the computers. I have slowed it up to an average 10 years level." He said, "Now I had corrected the malfunctioning of this computer and slowed it down and set it to the pace and speed of the learner of 10 years of the age. Actually, the overall pattern of our progress is quite satisfactory." He now satisfied the mother by saying the overall progress of the girl is quite good and satisfactory, and he patted Marge's head again and again. He touched the girl's head with love and affection. So she said to Tommy, "Why would anyone write about the school?" Now we come to know the reason of disliking school by this girl. She wanted to know the reason that why and how anyone could write about such hateful place. Tommy looked at her with very superior eyes. Superior means expert eyes. With his expert eyes, he looked at the girl and replied, "Because it is not our kind of school, stupid." He said, "Silly girl, the schools of the old time was not like their own schools. This is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago." He added loftily. Lovely means to say in the superior way. So very proudly he replied and stressed on the time period and said, "The centuries ago the school were not like the ones they had during that moment," pronouncing the word carefully. Centuries ago. So he again makes stress on the word centuries. He said 1,000 years ago the schools were quite different from their own time. So she said to Tommy, "Why would anyone write about the school?" Now we come to know the reason of disliking school by this girl. She wanted to know the reason that why and how anyone could write about such hateful place. Tommy looked at her with very superior eyes. Superior means expert eyes. With his expert eyes, he looked at the girl and replied, "Because it is not our kind of school, stupid." He said, "Silly girl, the schools of the old time was not like their own schools. This is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago." He added loftily. Lovely means to say in the superior way. So very proudly he replied and stressed on the time period and said, "The centuries ago the school were not like the ones they had during that moment," pronouncing the word carefully. Centuries ago. So he again makes stress on the word centuries. He said 1,000 years ago the schools were quite different from their own time. Margie was hurt. Now Margie was hurt at Tommy's behavior. "Well, I don't know what kind of school they had all that time ago." Now she accepted that she was unaware about the sort of schools which were existing in the centuries ago. She read the book over his shoulder. Now she looked from his shoulder and tried to read the book and then said, "Anyway, they had a teacher." And then she declared, "Perhaps they also had the teacher like them in their school." And the teachers were people. It would be really exciting time when there won't be the virtual teachers or computers, but there were real human beings to teach and support the children in the schools. A man? How could a man be a teacher? Margie couldn't believe that a human can do the work like the computer. Well, he just told the boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked them question. But Tommy informed that the human was doing the work like their computer teacher in the old time to teach the things and giving them homework. A man is not smart enough, but still the girl couldn't have faith that a human could be so intelligent. Sure, he is. My father knows as much as a teacher, but here he put the point that his father is also equally intelligent like their computer teacher. He knows almost as much, I betcha. He put the challenge to the girl. He said, I can take the bet that he is equally knowing the things and he is equally knowledgeable like their computer. Margie was not prepared to dispute that, but now she was not prepared for the argument that moment. She said, I wouldn't want a strange man in my house to teach me. But now she put the point that she could not allow any strange person, any unknown person to come and to do the teaching in her house. Tommy screamed with laughter. Screaming means shouting. Now Tommy burst into laughter to hear this funny and silly point of the girl. He said, Margie, you didn't know much about the teachers of olden time. They don't stay in a single house. They had a special building and all the kids went there. He said there was a special building where all the students they were visiting to get the education and all the kids learned the same thing. Now she raised again question that what do you feel that the kids all they are learning the similar thing there? Sure, if they were the same age. He here informed that if they belong to the same level, to the same age, they were imparted the same sort of education there. But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and the girl it teaches. Now, by giving a reference of the mother, the girl informed that a machine that is a virtual teacher of their time had to be fixed and tuned to the level of each boy or a girl to whom it is teaching. And that each kid has to be taught differently. She said each child required the different mode of learning. So, according to their level and capacity, they should be taught. Just the same, they didn't do it that way then. Now, Tommy replied, they were doing the same, but not in this way. If you don't like it, you don't have to read the book. I didn't say I didn't like it, Margie said quickly. She wanted to read about those funny schools. Now Margie became quite inquisitive and interested to read about those funny schools of the old time. So she said now abruptly, quickly, that she had not told that she didn't like this book. She is interested to read this book. They were not even half finished when Margie's mother called, Margie, school. Now, when they started reading and just reached in the middle of the book, then the Margie's mother, she called her and said, it is her school time. Margie looked up, not yet, Mama. Now she was interested in the book and refused to attend her school. Now, said Mrs. Jones, and it's probably time for Tommy too. She said, no, this is the time for school and I think it is the time of Tommy's school time too. Margie said to Tommy, can I read the book some more with you after school? Now she took the assurance from Tommy to read the book after the school. Maybe, he said nonchalantly. Nonchalantly means not showing much interest. Now the boy left the house and felt proud and he showed his attitude and said he would think. He walked away whistling. Now he left the house of the girl enjoying and whistling. The dusty old book tucked beneath his arm. Now that dusty old book, it was under his arm and now he left for his home. Margie went into the schoolroom. It was right next to her bedroom. Now the girl reached in her school. That was actually the virtual classroom that was lying right next to her own bedroom, and the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her, and she found her teacher was waiting for her to begin the class that day. It was always on at the same time every day except Saturday and Sunday. She used to teach this girl all the days except Saturdays and Sundays at the same time. As the mother told Margie that the small girls could do the better learning if they studied regularly at the same time. The screen was lit up. Now the screen of the computer was on, and it said it gives the instruction about the class of that day. Today's arithmetic lesson is on the addition of proper fraction. Now it was about some arithmetic lesson. Please insert yesterday's homework in the proper slot, and it also gives the instruction now to insert the day before work in the proper slot in the proper time schedule. Margie did so with a sigh. Margie took a long breath as she was helpless to replace her situation. She was thinking about the old schools they had. Now she started fantasizing about such old real schools which the people had when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. She started now dreaming how her own great grandfather used to attend such schools as a boy. All the kids from the whole neighborhood came, laughing and shouting in the schoolyard. She started now thinking how the children of the old time, they got together and assembled in a place, and they were laughing, shouting in the schoolyard, sitting together in the schoolroom, and they were attending such real schoolrooms, going home together at the end of the day. Now it was really exciting to think for Margie how the children of the old time, they were getting assembled at one place and enjoying their time together. They learned the same things so they could help one another with homework and talk about it. And again, it was a really encouraging thing that they were getting the similar homework, and they used to have discussion about their assignments and tasks together. The things would be quite easy in the old time. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen. The girl comes out from her imagination and now looked at her mechanical teacher who was giving the lesson on the arithmetic. Margie was thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the old days. Now the girl started fantasizing about the olden time when the children loved to be in such surrounding of the real classroom along with the human teachers. She was thinking about the fun they had. She felt jealous of this time when the children, they had the real fun and enjoyment in the schools. Dear kids, you are also undergoing with the similar situations like this girl Margie. And I know you're all fluttering at your homes to be stuck there and attend these online classes forcibly. We all will pray this lockdown should finish very soon and you should come out from your homes and rush to your ever favorite place and meet all your friends. I hope you have understood the story very thoroughly. Okay, thank you everyone.